we all had the Ravens at 2, and I think a lot of people can sit back and look at this ranking and say, "Are you guys kidding me? Number 1 seed last year, MVP from last season. Is Baltimore really the second most vulnerable defending division champion?" My personal reason was I would be afraid of Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals are that good, and the Ravens have lost quite a few pieces this offseason. So that's personally, I think the Bengals are winning the division. But how about you, Ziggy, where you've been a little more public in your distaste for Baltimore's repeat chances? Would you like to?
Yeah, so Baltimore's favored in the division, and they deserve to be. But if you look at how free agency worked for them this year, they had 5 players up for free agency that had played 70% or more of their snaps last year. They lost all 5 of them. And some of those were very good players. Kevin Ziegler, excellent player. Geno Stone, Morgan Moses, Patrick Queen, John Simpson.
God,
now, I know that not all of those guys were world beaters, but when you're talking about 3 offensive line starters, plus Patrick Queen, who really improved last year, and Geno Stone, who was always Mr. Reliable, losing that kind of stuff hurts. You also lose your defensive coordinator. Widely regarded, McDonald's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. He did really, really good for them last year and was a huge driver.
Oh, yeah.
This is a team that operates through the offensive line. I know Lamar Jackson is elite, but when you have a team that's as run heavy as the Ravens, even though they weren't quite as run heavy with Monken, that was still one of the major ways they operated. They need to have a strong run game in order for Jackson to be a threat, the kind of threat that makes him an MVP candidate. And I worry just with how many pieces they lost that they're going to take a step back. Meanwhile, every team around them in the division, except maybe the Browns, got better. This Bengals team is getting healthy Joe Burrow back, and they haven't really lost anything. This team is scary. The Steelers added some quarterbacks. Are they the best quarterbacks in the NFL? No. But Russell Wilson and Justin Fields combined, one of them's got to be decent. You had a decent quarterback to a team that always wins 9 or 10 games. Maybe they win 11 or 12. The Browns, I mean, I'm not super high on the Browns, but they've got a great defense, and they always play the Ravens hard. You just never know how that game's going to go.
Yeah, it's the same question. Is Deshaun Watson going to be good?
It doesn't matter. You can replace Deshaun Watson with literally any quarterback in the NFL. You can replace him with me, and the game's going to be close because that's just how the AFC North operates.
It's also a black cloud franchise. They might just stink.
Yeah, they could.
Oh, yeah, no, look, they might win 0 games, but they will play all 6 of their AFC North games within a touchdown.
Competitively.
People are so down on Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to be very good this year.
Cleveland stinks.
No, they absolutely could, but I just mean that is such a tough division. It is the second toughest division in football behind only our NFC North. And the fact is, when you are a team that is taking a step back in a really hard division, you're vulnerable. And the fact is, dropping 1 or 2 division games could be all that it takes.
Yeah, that's the thing with Baltimore is they have, automatically 6 dogfights on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the rest of these teams on this list probably don't. Maybe besides the nobody.
It's a rivalry, but Cowboys beat the Giants combined 89-17 last year.
Yeah. No. And these
you're not doing that in the North.
Are ridiculous. I actually do think the run game will get better, Ziggy, with Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell coming back. So if there is one positive to take away from their offseason, and there are some positives for the Ravens, but I think the Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell duo could be really, really dangerous next year, especially when you add in Lamar's legs. So the Ravens rushing attack should be.
But you lost Gus Edwards, and nobody's going to look at that as a huge loss. But he is. Ravens fans know this was a guy you could rely on. He got over 5 yards. He averaged 5 yards a carry for his career in Baltimore.
Dude, why we just got Derrick Henry? Why I would much rather have Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell than Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, which is what they had at the end of the year.
Man, Derrick Henry's got to get hurt at some point.
Oh my gosh! Well, the Ziggy theory on this show is that people get hurt.
You know what it'll be, Ziggy? The AFC North is a bad division for Derrick Henry. You got Alex Highsmith coming in, TJ Watt.
Yeah.
He might not last.
Yeah, so Derrick Henry is a complete upgrade. Don't get me wrong. I am just saying I don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Gus Edwards at this point in his career.
Running backs don't matter. I agree.
Oh my gosh.
The Ravens line is fantastic. Put anybody behind you like we've seen, and they'll be good. Thank you. I agree. Gus Edwards.
That's not quite what I'm saying. Derrick Henry is an upgrade. But I'm saying that it's not the kind of upgrade that transforms the Ravens. The Ravens have always had a good rushing attack. They will again next year. Derrick Henry might be better than Gus Edwards, and he will be, but it's not going to be by that much. Meanwhile, replacing whatever quarterback, like we're adding Joe Burrow in, is such a huge upgrade for the Bengals offense. That's a much bigger upgrade than the equivalent Derrick Henry for Gus Edwards.
Who's that?
You can't deny that.
Who came in last year? That rookie,
Keaton
Yeah,
Mitchell.
he's awesome.
I mean, Keaton Mitchell's very good.
He's awesome.
In my mind, they get Mitchell and Henry, and I'm like, all right, it's on. It's on in Baltimore.
Mitchell, he's somewhat like no name back, and he's great.
Yeah, he averaged what he averaged like 8 yards a carry or something.
He will not be. I mean, he's not. You're making him sound like he's a scrub. He's just a really good player.
No, he's great. He's awesome.